I'm all right, mate.
But now I'm just testing it, yeah. So I've just pressed go live, yeah. So this should be on YouTube somewhere. So, so I kind of like set you up, kind of like. I'm sorry, I set you up, mate. I didn't give you any forewarning. You know what I
That's all
mean?
good. All right, mate.
But like I said, to all the people watching on live, we're just testing again. I can see I've changed some lighting here, and the last stream that I did about an hour, 2 hours ago, I forgot to turn the volume on my microphone up. So, Ben, is my microphone clearish to
Yeah.
you? Is that clear?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's better. The last time, the last time it was muffly as F. You know what I mean? And I forgot to turn the volume. Right.
Okay.
So, Happy New Year. What have you been up to, bro?
Not much. First time in a long time. Just been not been doing much. So yeah, starting to get back on the grind this weekend a little bit though. Yeah, trying to get some stuff sorted, get prepped for this new year. Yeah.
So what do you think is going to happen in 2020? What's your predictions? I mean, like with all the medicine talk and the
man, I honestly have no clue how this is all going to go down. To be honest, I don't know, man. I don't know. Just waiting and seeing like everybody else. All the only prediction I've got is that in the UK at least it will be suboptimal. That's all I can say.
yeah.
Beyond that, who knows, man? I don't know.
Isn't it? You know what I mean? Because I'm kind of hoping that it kind of kicks in like tomorrow, so I'd have to go work for the next 2 weeks. So you know, I'll stay in it. You know what I mean? So
I work remotely, so I'm happy. I'm cool, man. I like working remotely. Works for me. Work in IT, so it's beautiful. So I'm lucky that way. I don't have to worry about that as much.
Yeah, true. Because obviously my job is very well. The company I work for, I'm in and out of different venues all the time, and you know what I mean. There are crowds of people there, and you know what I mean. I went to one place, and I always wear my mask in it. I always wear my mask and put the hats on and everything. Yo, man, this one guy, I've gone into this place and they were sitting at this table. It was a bar, innit? And this one guy was hacking his lungs out, bro. You know, and people, and I was like, yo, ease up, man. And people were still sitting there enjoying it. People sitting there drinking their drinks, and I went because like obviously I'm working there, innit? So I took my far self way over to the corner of the room where no one's standing. You know what I mean? It's like, and I could hear, you know, like the guy must have been a good 40 feet away from me, and I can still hear him hacking up and stuff. And people weren't paying no attention to that. And I'm thinking, what? So no one's thinking that something's going on with this guy. You know what I mean? But they were enjoying themselves. They were having a drink and they were enjoying themselves, and they were like, you know what I mean? That their freedoms weren't being imposed on, and they could do what they were doing. And then, you know what I mean? Give it a couple of days. But then rested up in the bed, can't talk about, they can't breathe and things. But I don't know. Because sometimes I think, well, you know,
sorry, go on.
Yeah. Because I think that sometimes, like, obviously, there's the perspective that, you know, it's winter time, so you're bound to catch a cold or something like that. You know what I mean? So you're bound to get sick at some point. You know what I mean? The flu's been around for years. You know what I mean? So the fact that you may have this, like, let's say you have the illness, I won't say its name because you always get struck for that. But to say that you have the illness, and you could be just sick anyway. You know what I mean? Is it a government ploy? We don't know. You know what I mean? But as far as I'm concerned, it's like, well, you know what? At the minute, I'm just going to keep myself safe according to the guidelines. I'm not really truly buying into 100%.
Okay.
Right? Because it seems that, you know, I know people that have been, let's say, have their 2 strikes, and they've had the boost as well.
Okay.
And they've and still coming to work and saying, "Oh yeah, I'm cool," and I'm like, still hocking up the lungs and everything, and talking about they need to take days off.
Okay.
You know, right? But again, sometimes it's just a matter of you don't know whether they're playing the system because you know how many people I've heard go, "Oh, I've got the thing," like the week before Christmas, right? So they can get the whole
right, okay. So you're saying the timing is suspicious, are you?
Yeah, it's suspicious. Well, I put it down to suspicious, but I can't say because I don't know because I can't prove it with hard facts and evidence.
So that's what I was going to say. I think this is the problem. I don't know. This is just my opinion. My opinion is that this discussion it reminds me of how, I'd say the last 4, 5, 6 years or so, discussion and debate is not. It's not very well. There isn't actually any discussion or debate. It's just people are very entrenched in one camp or another. It really reminds me of. I don't like to say the Brexit word, but it reminds me of that whole discussion. It's like you can't just have an exchange of views, and people are not really willing to listen to the other side because either you're a sheep or you're an anti-vaxxer, or you're just a minion and a follower, or a conspiracy theorist. And it's like, well, why don't we I don't know. So that's how I feel about it. And it's just people yelling at each other, just la, 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 la. No one's really listening, and everyone's just trying to impose their views on everybody else. Everyone, you've got your perspective on how risky or not the situation is, as you explained with your example at work, and then the person they have their perspective on risk, and no one's really trying to figure out what's actually the goal and what's actually the best way to achieve that. It's very much just okay. Well, I'm just gonna yell at you. I'll just yell at you and just shout and shout and shout and say my way is correct. And someone else says, no, I've got all the points. You're crazy, and nobody all learns anything. So
exactly. You know what I mean? So everyone ends up in no man's land with their opinions, and we're none the wiser. So is it real or is it not real? No one knows. But I'm not going to say. I personally wouldn't say that it's not real because flu is real. You know what I mean? And you're in any illness, you're going to have variants of anything. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's down to what I would say is that sometimes it's down to simple like people's ability to be immune to certain things and how their immune system handles certain things. You know what I mean? So you could catch a cold and it's just and then go to work the next day and you sweat it out and everything. And you're cool 2 days later. Whereas someone with an illness or whatever, they could get that same cold, and it's had them lean up for 3 weeks. Yes. You know what I mean? So it's dependent upon I suppose your health aspect as well. So you can't overlook that. You know what I mean? Because I found like I said, like I've always kept myself busy when I'm not here streaming or whatever, or trying to work out what stream to do next or what topic to talk about next. I've always been out actively doing something because I heard that one of the biggest things that you'll find that with some people when they get sick, they want to tend to just lie down and not do nothing. They just wrap up and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Which is good for a second, but again, you're just in that sense, you're just kind of letting the virus or whatever the illness is, you're just letting it creep up in you. You're not trying to, you know what I mean? You're not helping your body fight it. But I don't know how true that is, though. Still, but it kind of makes sense to me, though.
I've not.
You know what I mean,
that is a new one on me. Obviously, I don't know how many people listen to this. I am not a medical professional of any way, shape, or form.
Me neither. Me neither.
But I have seen stress cause people to get ill.
That's true. That's true. That is true.
And so, if people are not attending to that and trying to de-stress and not let this whole situation get on top of them, I don't know. As a lay person, as a non-medical professional, that feels like as significant a risk factor as like being overweight and having some underlying, like, maybe you've got a heart condition or things of that nature. So I think anything you can do to try and alleviate the mental health side would be a smart thing to do. So if that means staying busy and just keeping your mind upbeat and focused on something else rather than the news, which is quite downbeat when it comes to this. I mean, obviously, because people are getting ill and things like that. So yeah, I just try and have fun and try and do things that I enjoy. Sounds like you're doing the same thing without it being a massive I don't know, going and watching football in the pub with lots of people or in close proximity. That might not be.
Yeah, I know. Because I will say,
it help your mental health, but it could be a risk to your physical health. So it's like balance.
Yeah.
People are not trying to have that discussion or think about things like that. Generally, it feels like.
Yeah, true say, because I'm not going to say no names, but someone I warned, do not go out Boxing Day. Don't go out Boxing Day. Said, yeah, but I want to go out and shake my foot, man. I want to go out. I ain't been out for so long. That very same person, 2 days later now. How you doing? Yeah, I don't feel good.
I shouldn't laugh.
And I was like, okay, I didn't warn you, but I'm not saying
it's down to. Were you ready with the "I told you so" card? Were you like, "Here"?
I had that card there on my chest. I was like, "This, don't make me draw for that. I'm gonna draw for the card. Here it goes. Give it down for you right there." Yes, I did too. No. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but like I says, yes, thank you. Debate the cause. Thank you for putting that. Yes, I'll put that in there. Debate the cause. A good friend of mine from London. Yeah, he's a gamer, and he streams on games a lot. You know what I mean? And my man's got some real good points. Where you'll need to go and check out his channel. Gamer, please put your name in your channel name because I forgot what it is at the minute. And also we've got Bernie in here as well, but I don't know what Bernie's saying. Bernie, want to finger? Thank you very much for the comment. You know what I mean? I appreciate it. Like I said, this is my first kind of like live streaming kind of thing. Well, not my second one. My first one was mashup. When was it mashup? I had a good conversation because I talked about F1 in it.
And, wow! Don't get me started on F1 flipping now, man. Jeez.
Seriously? Champion. Come on. Because I've been kind of like isolated, not because of Rona, but just because I've got things to do and I want to avoid contacting certain people, right? But I just like talking about F1 and what happened to Hamilton and what the rules were and the regulations. I mean, did you think? Okay, let me ask you a simple question. Let's just put it simply. Do you think he was robbed?
Completely.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
There's zero doubt for me.
No. Right. In which way would you say that he was robbed?
The rules were not followed. The procedure was not followed to serve the cause of entertainment rather than the spirit of competition and sport. I'd grown men crying when that happened. If I was on your stream, Debate the Cause, I might have been one of those people. I was not impressed. I was really like, what? To the point where I'm not even sure I want to watch F1 again because I'm just like, well, if you can just change the rules. And it's not. This isn't really about, in this very specific incident, it's not really about Max Verstappen. He's a really good driver. I don't like how he drives, or at least this season I don't like how he drove, but he's easily like. I'm happy that he got a good car so that he could have this competition because up until the last race, it was the best season I can remember in absolute ages. It was so good. Because everyone was beefing, but it wasn't spilling out. It was it kind of crossed the line a couple of times, but generally, it spiced things up beautiful. So this is not about Verstappen not being worthy over the course of the season. It's just in that defining moment. I just don't understand why the people who run the sport made that decision. Here's the funny thing. Right? I was talking to some friends on WhatsApp as the race was unfolding, and so when the safety car happened, and the first message was something like, I think it was something like, "Oh, we're not going to unlap any of the cars."
Yeah.
I said that was BS at the time, because I was like, even though that would have benefited Hamilton, who I am clearly a Hamilton fan, I was like, you cannot change the rules. You can't just change the rules.
Yeah.
You know, they spent the whole week between the penultimate race and the last race talking about we don't want the stewards to get involved. We don't want the stewards to get involved. And then they just put their size 10s all up in the whole situation. They should have said, the rules have told me that I have to do this thing. That's what I have to do. I didn't tell you to push up his car in the wall. The rules say when there's a car in the wall, this is what we do. I'm going to do that. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
They didn't do that. So that's why I was like, man, that is not. And then to unlap. So as much as I was saying it was BS to unlap no cars, it's equally BS to unlap half the cars to the benefit of the person who had just put on some fresh. It's like, what are you doing? That's just so you could have one lap. We all know the margins of F1.
Yeah, they're literally like 10th of a second, aren't they? Yeah,
it's not a competition really, because he's just going to get smoked, and Lewis can't crash. He cannot afford to crash. He cannot. Whereas Max is just, you know what I mean, sending his moves from the M25. That's how far away he was. I'll just fling the car up the inside, no line, no control. But he was smart. He's like, well, I can crash. You can't. So I'm going to put my car in the way and wish you good luck. Good luck, bro. You do you.
Yeah. He definitely had that advantage, isn't it? You know what I mean? Yeah. Hold on. Let's have put this up there. Hold on. Let's have, what did he say? They are white and they say so. Suck it up. Wake up. Yeah, man. It's true. It's true. They are white and they have that rule of, you know what I mean? Because how I looked at it, and I kind of like analyzed it. And I think if you haven't watched my latest video on my Michael's Madness, I just said, look, at the end of the day, they put the stewards and whoever's in control, Massey and whoever the powers that be, right? They sat there and the opportunity came, right? Because at the end of the day, Hamilton had that in the bag, didn't he? He really had it in the bag. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for the crash, it was game over, right? So the fact that the crash happened, right, and then they quickly just went, oh, we've got an opportunity here. Okay, let's manipulate this. What can we do? Now, I understand that they had to get the car out of the way because where he crashed, there was no, I believe that there was no cranes and things like that.
No, there weren't.
So, right, so it would have taken, I would say that it would have taken at least 2 laps just for them to get, by the time the cars went down twice, just for the crane to get there, or if the crane, or at least a lap and a half for the crane to get there, then you got to rig it up, get the car out of the way, then sweep away the way
very fast.
Yeah, they did. But it was a long track though, because it was like, if you look at the race pace of the cars going around when they were doing the on the yellow flags, it was like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Yeah, okay. So 2 laps in 5 minutes. So yeah, they could probably do that in 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But what I would argue is that because Schumacher was literally about to get lapped by Hamilton before the crash. Hamilton was on going on to lap 54, and Schumacher literally just started it.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So under safety car rules, by the time they couldn't do nothing on the first lap, but then by the time they got around to by the time they kind of got the car out of the way-ish, he would have had to done almost 2 laps driving faster than the safety car because obviously he's not behind it. Mm-hmm. But he'd have to beat the safety car to lap 57 in order to make it a last lap shootout, isn't it? There's no way he could have done that.
It was so as soon as Latifi crashed, everybody, well, I say everybody, the drivers for sure, and I imagine the teams. So I've had the fortune to work at a Formula One team, not for very long, so I'm not like an F1 expert, but like these people consider every option, and they just like the precision is ridiculous. So they would have known immediately. Okay, so we've got to clear this car, then we've got to unlap the cars, then the safety car needs to get out of the way. this is finishing under a safety car. That's it.
Yeah,
There's no other way. Safety car, I've won this. This is what Lewis is thinking. And everyone else is like, okay, Lewis is in front. This is finishing the safe. So to then engineer things such that there was still going to be some kind of race at the end, even though Verstappen had been able to go and pit and get tyres. I think some of the rules as a result could do with being revisited. And I think how the teams and the stewards interact with each other, I think that could do with being revisited, because it definitely reminded me of watching a football match, and there's an incident on the pitch, and then one set of players would just go and just harass the ref and say, "Yeah, you got to no, that wasn't a foul. It was outside the box. It didn't hit my hand, it hit my chest." All this kind of just. How about everyone basically piss off, and I'm the ref, and I will decide. I don't need your help. I don't need it from you people because you're all biased. So, with respect, piss off and let me just figure out what's going on here, and then I'll tell you what's going on. So, because it happened a few times in this season and every other season, it feels like, red flags, decisions. They to me, it feels like they impact the race too much and they penalise the person in front. The person who has been racing the best shouldn't be penalised because a back marker has crashed. Hold on. Oh, you're telling me that because my man crashed, my advantage has been eroded because this guy crashed?
Yeah.
That if there's a way that they can preserve the situation, they should look into that. It's not easy to do though, right? It's like you're gonna restart. It's not snooker. You can't just like put the book, set things up in the exact same situation. It's a dynamic, moving. I don't know how you do it, but it should be looked at least.
That's true. You know what I mean? My man debate the cause. Max's dad left the circuit because he had no faith in Max was going to win. At that point, he only returned after the safety car. Yeah, of course. You know what I mean? I think, at the end of the day, that's a bad look on the dad, though, I think. You know what I mean? The father, he shouldn't have, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, no matter what the situation, he's like, oh, no, I can't watch this. I'm off. And then as he's walking down that gantry now, he's like, crash! Verstappen's in second. Whoa!
That's a bad look. If that's true, that is a bad look. I'd be pissed if my dad did that. I'd be pissed. I ain't got no faith. You got to be there to support your kid in good times and bad, especially the bad. Got to bail out because he's. Man, I hope that's fake. I hope that's not a story, man, because that is terrible.
That's a story.
Is that what happened? I didn't know.
Yeah, that's what happened. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know. I thought at first, no, he did that, but yeah, I did some research onto it, and yeah, that's what happened. He was like, yeah, okay, then yeah, well, I'm gonna get a beer at the bar, and you know what I mean, I'm
gonna beat the traffic. Get out of this. Get out of here. Beat the traffic.
Yeah,
I'll see you at home, lad.
You know what I mean? Yeah, so that's not a good look. But yeah, that whole situation was mad, and again, I want Hamilton to race next year. Yeah, I really do, because I think that, like I said in my first video, that it probably wasn't clear, but yeah, I think that until he cements that 8th title, he'll always play a second fiddle to equaling Michael Schumacher in a system that we have. You know what I mean? So he's always you're always going to have the toxic, anti-Hamilton fans and whatever, or the anti-Hamilton group. Saying, oh yeah, well, you know what? He's still he's not the greatest, because even though he's broken all the records and he's smashed all kind of this, that, and the other fast poles and race wins and this, that, and the other, and blah blah.
He's statistically the best. Like, it's not even a subject. Like, from objective statistics and numbers, just counting things, he is the best. Like,
Yeah, but I find it interesting though how people are. I've seen on Facebook, if I can find it, I'm still gonna find it, where people are trying to pick unusual statistics now. So they're saying, well, well, so and so won 4 races and did, I don't know, some madness where they cracked 4 races precisely within a certain time frame, which they would say, "Well, Hamilton hasn't done that," or you know what I mean, or like you've seen the one where they've got Verstappen on one side and they've got Verstappen has led this many races by 400 something
laps. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a bizarre statistic, bro. That's a bizarre
I think that's. I like those stats because it's. I don't know how many people are watching, but I like football or soccer, so it's kind of like saying, so I'm please people don't leave, but I'm a Liverpool fan.
Okay. End the streaming.
Right.
I'm sorry.
So I'm a Liverpool fan. So if Liverpool lose a game, and the statistics say, "Oh, we had 90% possession, they had 10. We had 10 corners, they had 1. We had 50 shots, they had 1, but we lost 1-0. Who gives a shit?" It doesn't matter. The key stat was goals, and Liverpool lost, so you were the losers. That is how this thing works. You don't get a 90% possession trophy. That's not what we're. You can go make that game. If you want to play that game, go and make that game, and you can. Whoever possesses the ball for most amount of time, you're the winner. Like you can do that. But we're talking about goals. That is the number one stat.
There's no trophy.
So interesting. No, there's no trophy for that. But I find it interesting though. Like it's really interesting to see how the stats do or do not reflect what happened in a sport or something. I can remember watching. I can't remember the specific match, but I remember Andy Murray had played Nadal. I think don't ask me which specific match, but they played a bunch of times. This one match, Murray had lost. And he kind of got battered in this particular match. When you look at the sets, it was sort of like, I don't know, 3-1 or something. But when you looked at the stats, it looks so close. And I find that interesting to see that. Like you look at the stats, you're like, it's not like every point is not equal. Like every stat is not equal. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not. When Leicester, because I'm from Leicester, so when Leicester won the league.
Come here. Yay, Leicester.
I think their average possession over the season was less than 50% across that season. So it's like it doesn't matter how much you have the ball; it matters what you do with the ball when you've got it. So going back to Max Verstappen, if he had actually lost, that would have reflected that point really nicely. It doesn't matter if you lead. If it's a 50-lap race, there's only one lap I want to be in front. You can have the other 49.
For real.
Well done you. You won 49 laps. You can have the 49 laps trophy. I want the trophy.
That is true. And that, again, it goes against, like I says, they'll use it once because it's won. You know what I mean? They'll use it to promote and prompt this notion that, because I saw this one tweet on Facebook, where I think he was kind of trolling though still, and he's put, Max is now the greatest of all time, right? Because he won the championship.
Wow.
And I was like, what? I'm like, seriously? Greatest of all time for winning? Because he beat Hamilton. And that's like saying, well, you know what, Ron, a champion boxer. I thought about the first time when Tyson was beaten. Really, the first time he was beaten after he demolished everybody in 2 rounds for the years. The one person that beats him now is now considered to be the best boxer. That just makes no sense.
No,
that makes no sense. Anyone that comes to them with an argument, I just tell them, shut up. Yeah. I mean, you need to prove. Now, so what Max needs to do now is he has to defend his title now.
Well, it's levels. Yeah, you're right. It's levels. It's like what it reminds me of is like, because I like tennis as well, as you're about to find out and probably picked up on from before. So in my opinion, this is going to sound ridiculous, right? So don't laugh at me, right? But in my opinion, Andy Murray is one of the greatest tennis players that's ever walked the face of the earth. His only misfortune is he was born now, where he's got 3 of the apps. Like, if you made a top 5, those 3 that are playing now would be in the top 3. Without any question, they would batter everyone. The fact that they're all around now is ridiculous. So for Andy Murray to win 3 slams in this era is insane. There was one season where, and again, we're talking about trophies. You don't get a trophy for this, right? But it's just an interesting stat. He was runner-up in every Grand Slam in a single year, I think, or something stupid. Like, what? That is if he was born in just an era before or an era after, people would say Andy Murray's the greatest because he has to deal with Nadal and Federer and Djokovic. People are like, this guy is so that's where you can have the debate and kind of say, well, your single victory might count for more. In the same way with Leicester City, for Leicester City to win the Premier League, like it in your heart, some things count for more. But maths is maths. It's one.
Maths,
you know what I mean? But, in the scheme of things, that some achievements are insane. I don't think Verstappen's is in the same league as that, because Verstappen himself has the ability of a an F1 great. Like, he is very, very good.
Like, and
he's very good.
The thing is, I think that looking at social media and things like that, I think that no one's denying. I don't think that no one's denying that, and I think that a lot of people support him in that. The fact that, like, at the end of the day, he's brought the challenge to Hamilton. This is what Hamilton needed. You know what I mean?
And the team.
And the team as well.
Because they gave him the tools.
Okay, I'll say Red Bull as a team. I'm not.
Your sound is going weird. Is your sound going weird, or is my internet going weird?
No, I don't know. My sound right to me.
Sound a bit dark.
Better.
I don't know why. No, it's the same. Sorry, go on, carry on. I can still make you out.
So for me personally, Red Bull as a team, with the designers, car designers, everything, brilliant. It's just a matter of I want. Yes, I agree 100% that. Yes. I mean, Max Verstappen in that is a phenomenal driver. And I don't think anyone's denied that. Right? All they do is they especially drive because what I've said before, and what some people have brought to the attention, is that a lot of the controversy that we've had this season in Formula One is due to a code of etiquette and conduct. There's kind of like an unwritten code between drivers. You don't dive at the inside. You know what I mean? You don't. You know what I mean? If you're 4 cars behind, you don't come flying up the inside. Yeah. And so I've got another message from someone I said got. Right, so debate the cause. Has my audio got better? So if I press that, audio gone bad.
There you go.
Is that better?
Yeah, way better. Yeah, back to normal.
Yeah, okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, so that's sorted. So I need, point one, get a proper. I've got like 5 dynamic mics here, but they're all bloody. They all need to get plugged into a box and all kind of shit. This one just plugs straight into the computer.
Well, this is, by the way, people listening. Michael tricked me onto this thing. He didn't even tell me he was actually going live. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing right now?" So no, not much. So yeah, but this is all part of the experiment. So you figure out what this is it, right? So we've now learned the mics need some attention.
Yes, I learned something. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Debate the cause. Audio's gone bad. Yeah. So anyway, what was I saying? I get distracted so easy, and I forgot what I was talking about. Oh yes, Max's driving style.
Yeah,
Max's driving style. Yeah. So like I said, a lot of the controversy that we found over this year, with people talking about regulations and rules and stuff like that, and what can drivers do and what can't drivers do, especially when they had that meeting. I think it was the race before Brazil. No, was it after Brazil?
After Brazil. It was after Brazil.
Said,
the drivers meeting.
Yeah, the drivers meeting.
Yeah, that was
again.
After
It was
Brazil.
a matter of at the end of the day, I've seen how Verstappen drives, and I call it I call it like an apex driver. Yeah. So what it is that let's say that you're driving down the track and your braking point is 50 meters before the apex, right? He will always, regardless if there's a car in front of him or not, that's where he's going to brake, right? So the thing is with that now is that if you're behind the car, you can't do that. You need to brake at 55 meters or 60 meters so that you don't ram into the back of them. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Because it's called it's called the Constantino effect. So let's say you're there.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? You understand what I'm saying? So if you're going to ignore that rule, right, then you're going to end up flying down the inside. And then what happens now is that you put the person who's in front of you, you put them off their game going into the corner because they can see you flying. What the fuck?
To be honest, they don't see you. That is a few times. To be honest, it's almost like they don't see you because they're not expecting such a ridiculous move. There's a bunch of times where you'll see from the driver cam, you'll see Lewis. He's just trying to follow the line, and so he's like, "Whoop, wait!" It's like, "Whoa!" He's not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, but you understand if he's going to break the Constantino rule, and just come and what's he doing there? Right? It puts them off their game, and then obviously it might sacrifice his lap time, but if he gets into a place in which he can hold them up for a couple of corners, he's track position. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, my issue with that now is that let's say that next season all the drivers adapt that same style.
And that's what the drivers were saying at the drivers' meeting. They were like, if you remember after the race, they were doing the same thing. They were like saying, okay, so are we saying that are they the rules now? So is that how we're driving now? Like, if that's how we're driving, cool, but that's not what we agreed. Like, that's worse to that effect. So you could see someone like, okay, we need to, like, what are we doing here? Because that should have been a penalty all day long.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, again, going back to it reminds me of football. It's like it's almost, I don't know. It's like a little bit of a chicken and egg baby because you're kind of like, why do players dive? Because one argument could be because actually when I get fouled and try and stay on my feet, you don't call a foul, so now I have to dive.
Yeah,
because you don't give me the foul unless I go down. I try and stay on my feet. You'll say, well, you stayed on your feet. Couldn't have been a foul. Implicitly, because you didn't give a foul. You're not explicitly saying it, but you just... So so for Max, he's like, well, no one said it was a penalty, so this is how I'm driving. No one told me anything until there was no penalty. I was allowed to carry on and do my thing. So that's it. And all the other drivers are like, nah, bro, that was out of order. That should have been a penalty all day long. Refs, stewards, what are we doing here? Was that a penalty? Was that allowed? If that's the standard, we need to know so we can all, because like you say, now everyone's going to be driving like a lunatic. It would be interesting to see what will happen if the thing I really want to see is if the point situation was reversed, and so Hamilton had the advantage. So in other words, if they both crash, that's great for Hamilton.
Oh right! That'd be interesting.
And see how Max drives in that scenario. Because I tell you now, he ain't doing that shit. That's my very strong prediction. Yeah. He's not just going to fling his car up the inside if he knows he writes off and then he couldn't score points and gain on the person in front. He's not going to drive like that. He isn't. I just can't see it. But it'd be interesting to actually witness it for real.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think that what happened is like this is like the whole like my old kind of like ideal in my head is that because obviously Verstappen when you're watching it, right, and you're watching it, you see, oh my god, that it looks like a great overtake. You know what I mean? He's like, oh my god, he's not afraid to back out and he's gonna go in and I mean, but again for the other drivers now, it's a matter of, well, hold on, if I didn't move out of the way,
we're crashing.
Me and him just right off each other.
Over the crash.
But because they're sticking to because experienced drivers and even some of the new drivers have kind of had this adopted code They think, well, you know, no, let me move out the way. Let me move out the way, right? And that has a psychological advantage for him.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because now he feels, well, I'm going to know, right? Once, because like there's one, when I'm going to reflect back to what happened in Silverstone, yeah? And there were two camera shots. There were two camera shots, right? And the first camera shot, right, where they took a photo is when Hamilton was side by side with Verstappen going into the corner. But then the second shot was now when Verstappen was ahead of him, right? And you had two different perspectives on that, right? Now, according to what people think, that, you know, it's fair for you to go up the inside, and Hamilton was right to be where he was, right? Because at the end of the day, he had the momentum going through that corner, but he backed out in the last minute. And he had the line, right? Verstappen now, seeing that Hamilton's backed out, tried to close him off. Yeah, but did it too soon, which ended up in, well, we all know what happened after that. Right?
That was just horrible. That whole situation was horrible. That was not good. It was not
good. You weren't good. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the ultimate risk that all this, to me, because Hamilton, generally speaking, seems to be a hard but fair driver.
Yes.
But he's hard first. So if you keep saying to him, well, we're all driving like batty holes now, and that's just, then he will adapt to that very fast. Yeah. He'll go, cool. If we're all driving like dickheads, then that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
He'll be like, cool, fine. We're driving like dickheads, are we? Then I can do that. I can drive any way that people want to drive. His default position is to be fair and not trying. Even though what happened at Silverstone ended up with Verstappen in the hospital, he's not trying to put people in the hospital. Like, he's not. I don't think he's aggressive like that off the bat. I think Verstappen is, like you were saying. He's always, do you know what I mean? But trying to play mental games with Hamilton is an idiotic thing to do. It makes him better.
I remember that corner at I can't remember the track now. When he sized up, what track was it? The last, I think the one last, where he sized up Max perfectly going into you got the long straight that comes right around the top, and then you've got that quick chicane, and Hamilton's gone wide, come down, cut the corner short, and then just rip past him on the straight.
He just penultimate race. Was it? No, it wasn't Abu Dhabi. It was the other one, wasn't it?
No, it was.
It was. I think. Yeah, I think I remember. It was definitely the second to last race. I think.
Yeah. But he sized him up. But like I said, he sized him up, and then this is what we talk about fair racing. Rather than try to dive down the inside and try and beat him around the corner, he sized him up to get the best potential for the straight coming out of it, and that's what most Formula One drivers learn. He said, "Okay, then, right, if he's going to go defensive, he's going to lose a lot of momentum going into the straight after he's come out of these set corners." Yeah. So if you can keep momentum going through the corners, right, boom, you'll be up his arse, and then you'll get the slipstream, and then boom, especially if there's a long straight after. You know what I mean? And that's what Hamilton was doing. And I think, because like I've seen a lot of people talking about how Hamilton should have, in Abu Dhabi now, they're talking about when the steward decided to let everyone go and blah blah blah. They're saying that Hamilton should have defended that corner. The corner 4.
He did go super wide. I don't know what, because I'm not. If it's the corner I'm thinking of, I agree. He left. I reckon he left it too wide open. But the tire difference was so massive. It's like, he can't defend that. He can't.
Yeah, but I would argue that in his mind, he kind of felt that, well, you know, right, I know that my man's going to come up the inside anyway, which is going to put me off my game anyway. So, and I know that there's a long straight, because you notice how on the straight he was side by side going into the straight.
Yeah, the power.
And the power and the slipstream, he literally coming out of that corner side by side, but he was on the wrong side. Yeah, he's on the outside, and he should have really tried to come on the inside. But you know what I mean? But there's no way he could cut him inside, because Verstappen would have just squeezed him into the wall. So
he was weaving at that point. Verstappen was weaving.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
the track at that point as well. So it was like, and again, I think I'm pretty sure every pundit that I've listened to has said they've put it like this: Max is prepared to crash.
Yeah,
like he's not. So it's not. He's not deliberately trying to crash. He's just creating a situation where he's saying, "Look, there are two outcomes here. I'm going past you, or we're crashing." That's it.
yeah.
If you want to crash, that's your business. But I'm going past you. He creates a situation where there's going to be a crash, and puts the onus on Hamilton to evade the crash, knowing that Hamilton has to evade it. He cannot afford to crash.
Yeah.
He can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
which if you think about that strategy strategically in Art of War, that's a good move.
Yeah, like I get it. I don't like it at all. I can't stand it at all.
In Art of War. Yeah. When you put it like that in the Art of War,
you've got to use every advantage.
Yeah, the advantage. You know what I mean? And plus the fact you've got Stews on your side as well. That does help. So
well, I don't know, man. What you know what it is, right? I don't know how widespread the feeling is, but there was this. It felt like there was this feeling of it's boring Mercedes winning everything.
Yeah.
Right, and I think it was kind of that kind of sentiment maybe influenced some things. It was like, which again is like, I'm not anti-Ferrari, but I'm not like, oh, Ferrari are, amazing. You know how like a lot of people support Ferrari. So when Ferrari were winning with Michael Schumacher all the time, I found it boring. But I wasn't mad with Ferrari. I was mad with everybody else. It's like, why are you letting them batter you all the time? Like they're doing their job. They've got the best driver and giving them a ridiculous car. Like, what are you lot doing? Like, sort yourselves out, will you? You know what I mean? It's not. You can't.
Yeah, step up.
Even though Formula One do that, I'm sure that's why they change the rules as often as they do, because it's like, oh well, Red Bull won 4 in a row, so they switched up the rules. And then Mercedes just came flying out the gate and said, yeah, cheers for that. We'll now take over from here. And it's been like, 8 years up until this season where they just won 8 in a row. Ridiculous. And everyone's like, oh, it's boring. Mercedes. It's like, well, if they're the best, that's everybody else's problem. They're doing their job. You're not doing yours.
Isn't it? Yeah. It is what it is. Well, that's Formula One, and like I said, you've got to wait till next season. And like I said, a lot of the opinions that people are throwing out. I mean, all the speculation of Hamilton, will he race next year, and will he not race next year, and should he race next year, and like I said, for me personally, like aspects of the whole race element to it that's been brought in by some people. Say, even myself, I have to admit, at the end of the day, when you look at how, what he's been fighting for off track, as in like what he's trying to represent as well, I mean, to have him, it's a bad look, and a very, let's say, it's a triumph for those who want to argue. Well, you see, it was because he was black and they robbed him. He was black and they robbed him. Yeah, and I don't want to go down that road. Yeah, I just think, like I said, he got robbed because literally the motherfuckers made a bad decision. Yeah, but I'm not going to deny it either.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, but
stranger things have happened.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I've tested my live stream anyway, so you came on. But I'm going to call you tomorrow. But I've got a debate for your ass tomorrow, Dave, if you're about.
What's the topic?
Oh wow! Well, it's going to be about this guy. Let's see if I can get this to work. Okay, let me share screen. Right, hold on. Let me sort this out quickly. This is the guy. I want you to, if you can, right, look up this guy. His name's Simon Webb. Yeah. So let me share screen. Let's see if I can get you on. Right. Let me put some audio on there.
Findings such investigations will surprise nobody. For example, there's a strong and direct link between the number of years spent education
Oh, is it?
and willingness
Right,
to
okay,
accept
hold on.
ideas which run counter to mainstream thinking about history and science. There is also, again, unsurprisingly, a connection between IQ and willingness to swallow irrational beliefs. One association which has emerged over the years is that African Americans are far more ready to adhere to conspiracy theories than are white people or those of Asian origin. Black people spend on average less time in school and college than white people or Asians. So it might simply be that this explains the phenomenon. It might just be completely coincidental. Skin color might be irrelevant, and this might just be one particular facet of.
Right, hold on. I ain't gonna play any more of that yet because I want you to go and check out his channel. Yeah, right. But
really, okay, because that I don't know what he was trying to make there.
Now, the topic of debate would be how I framed it is that conspiracy theories, right? And basically, what he's trying to advocate is that Black people are more open to conspiracy theories because they are less intelligent, right? And I mean, this is what he's promoting, right? Now, I don't agree with that at all, right? But if you knew who he was, check it. Like I said, check out his channel. This guy is what I would call a raving lunatic.
I don't want to pollute my brain with that necessarily. I got stuff to do. Man. I don't know if I want to pollute my brain with this kind of level of foolishness. To be honest with you, that clip did not fill me with glee. Of debating, man. Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, but I I like to challenge these things because I feel that for me personally is that people like this. You see this guy here, right? He's gone from let's say 20,000 followers to nearly $100 and something thousand in the space of a year, right?
Okay.
And this is the kind of nonsense that he spits out, and I'm not really concerned about him particularly, but it's about the people that follow him and agree with him. Yeah. You know what I mean? That agree with the nonsense and they adopt the narratives. You know what I mean? And me personally, I think that unless Black people start to challenge people like him, and show, no, he's chatting shit, man, and bring reasonable argument to the debate to debunk what he's saying, right? Unless we do that, what you'll find is that people will just accept what he's saying to be the norm or accept what he's saying to be real. You know what I mean? Because there are things that he's saying that, right, unless you watch it, you wouldn't understand. But he's got a very proactive way of undermining Black people, saying they're unintelligent, they're violent, they're the same old stereotype tropes, you know what I mean? Right? But again, it's a matter of, unless he goes unchallenged, his audience will just go, well, he's got a point there. And the thing about him as well is that he's a writer.
Okay.
Right? So he knows how to manipulate language. He knows the certain ways to present arguments. And this is one of the big things for a lot of Black people. What we don't have is this ability to, or this understanding of how language works, in which you can manipulate or convince people into believing into what you're saying, even though they're chatting shit. It's just like when you deal with lawyers, if you don't know how when you sign on that line and the lawyer's got 18 pages worth of gibberish, where he just got you running around in circles and you don't quite understand it, far too many people just go, oh yeah, well, they pretend they understand because they don't want to look stupid, right? And then they sign on the dotted line, and then when they get fucked over now, they realize, oh, I didn't sign up for that. And they just go, oh, you did sign a piece of paper here, didn't you? And you did say you understood. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that is one interpretation of how, you know, black people are getting into. Here's the thing, right? There's more than one way to skin a cat, right? So
yeah, of course.
So, like, you can challenge people like that directly, and there's absolutely, you know, there's an argument for that, and you know, you could even go so far as say there's a need to do that directly, or, and this is what my heart is telling me to do with this particular individual right now, is to kind of say, you know what, I'm going to be busy over here trying to get better and just be as excellent as I can. And that can be an example of why he's talking nonsense.
Yeah, true.
Whether, you know, but he, you know, people like that could easily find an explanation or justification as to why, you know, a black person who is succeeding is an anomaly, rather than well, this is just pretty normal for what black people do. So I get that. So which is why I get why people would want to challenge him directly. But the thing is, that is extreme. Like, that is a that's not. There's a certain amount of energy and time and effort that will be required to do that, for sure. And there's
I have that in abundance. I have that in abundance.
But also there's also an element of risk there, because you can pick a percentage, but of that 120,000 people who actively subscribe, and of the oodles of people who haven't subscribed but watching shit regularly, how many of those people are going to say? So here's the thing: how many channels do you subscribe to that you completely disagree with, and you're trying to get a new point of view? People generally don't do that. So they're not. So in other words, they're not trying to have a debate with you. Their mind is already made up, and they've seen this guy who's come in and he's reflecting back what they already think. They're like, oh yeah, this guy gets me. Let me subscribe right now, and I'm going to hit the notification bell so I don't miss any of his informative videos. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, do you really want to have the debate? And am I the person that can convince you to have that debate? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I could spend my time and energy doing that, or I could spend it doing something else.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, but for me, what it is that to go with that is that, like I said, for me personally, people who have, or the people that are going to be in tune with what he's saying off the bat, is not the majority of people at certain times, because a lot of people kind of understand, you know, he's saying shit there, right? But unless it goes unchallenged over time, and I put it down to a time scale, over time it becomes a narrative. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's a debate for another day, and I don't really get into that because I'll be all night. You know what I mean? But thank you for coming on still. And for all those who are watching, respect for Debate the Cause and the other guy, Bernie, for coming in. And I'm going to end it there. You know what I mean? Because it's getting kind of late and I've got things to do. But let
me know where I send you the invoice for my time.
Invoice your blood.
I'll drop it around at yours tomorrow, mate.
Bring it. Yeah, see there. All right. Cool. But respect, respect. And by the way, did I do an introduction to you? I don't think I did. I think
we just started chatting.
Yeah, well, this is Brother Vern. Yeah, a good friend of mine. You know what I mean? A very intelligent black man. You know what I mean? Very smart. You know what I mean? So yes. I think I'll get him on a few more times. You know what I mean? We'll chop it up. But as for that, respect, man. I'll see you later. I'm out. Peace.
All right. Bye.